want to come over to Zoom, it will be the best. I posted, if you look right above in Twitter, you could see the Zoom link. Just wanted to say that. I kept the Twitter link open so people can still get here.
Okay, perfect. 2 people are in the waiting room. Get in here. Rosalind and Grace. Anybody else hanging in there? All right, here's some of the etiquette. Hi, Betty. Hi, Grace. Hi, Rosalind. Can we have some brothers on the call?
Hi.
It is what it is. Okay. All right. We've got Grace. I love you. Much love to you. Welcome to the call of a lifetime. This call is designed to rock your golden water boat. Oh, okay. So while I'm answering the door, make sure everybody brought refreshments. You brought refreshments? Nobody has a fancy wine goblet? What's with this gang here? Or you could just drink it out of your magic lamp.
Yeah.
I'm doing my crystal and shungite water.
Very nice, very nice. So a quick overview of etiquette. And after doing 36 World Urine Therapy conference calls, I've noticed there was a pattern of people behaving kind of inappropriately. So if you got to stretch, don't do yoga on the screen. Go down below the screen, shut off your camera, or you get it? Okay. Drinking orange or drinking whatever you need to drink is totally cool. Please don't chew food. We've had people bring a meal to the camera. I'm going, shut off your camera, eat off camera. Okay, and the last thing, oh, 2 more things. Be mindful of sound in your room. Sometimes people have background radio, television, internet, the kids, or they're speaking really loud. So kind of like be mindful of that. And here's Janelle. And last but not least, when you have a question to ask of either Gloria or Brother Sage, there should be an icon that lifts a little yellow hand on that guy, okay? Any questions? Riley, where are you dialing in from? Do you want to be silent, Riley?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I think everyone should be muted unless they're speaking, and that would get rid of all the background noise.
Okay, let's try that. I want to say hi to Riley. Oh, did he jump off?
No, I'm here, mate. I'm just preparing some things, so I didn't want to interrupt straight away.
Thank you. Okay. We've done a few announcements. We've done some housekeeping. I didn't really go into great details. I've got all kinds of things to announce, from projects and books and novelty items. We're creating the Shivambhu one-stop shopping superstore for people who want to get their protocols, get all their equipment, their tools, books, novelties. We're creating a store. We have a water family directory where you can, who's got somebody?
I think maybe everybody should mute their mics until they're ready to speak.
All right, ST, we'll get back to you in just a minute.
Brother Sage, do you have a co-host that can take care of the mics? I'm familiar with running Zooms.
The girl on your left, Gloria, is the hostess. I am the guest. Help out any way you can.
And Naomi, Brother Sage, she is my co-host on my weeklies, so she helps me out also.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, let's hear from real quick. Saint, what's your question? Then I'm going to do a prayer, communion, and then we'll hand it over to Gloria. Saint, do you want to talk? Maybe she had a hiccup. All right, guys, get your golden water. Grab your golden water. There's Belinda. Has anybody seen this book or have a copy of this book?
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Is it backwards?
No, it's right.
It's funny, on a MacBook Pro, it looks backwards. Anyway, this is the book that launched my career as a messenger for urine therapy. And we're going to read the sacred Indian prayer, and it's going to be our communion this morning. So get your water. We're going to do this. Oh, I need an assistant. Who wants to handle all the chat comments?
Naomi, do you want to do chat while you can? Thank you.
Yeah, I got it for an hour and then I'll let someone else take over.
Oh, bless you, bless you.
Hey, can I ask my question?
Yes, go ahead.
So I think I joined this late, but I was wondering how urine cycle affect autophagy, like when you're fasting, should you avoid drinking urine?
The answer is no, and I can go into greater detail when we get to the Q&A part.
Thank you.
Yes, you're worth it. Thank you for speaking up.
Rosaline, do you mind muting your mic just into
I'm an old fogey here. I don't know what I'm doing.
All right. Did that make sense, what Gloria recommended?
At
Yeah,
your bottom
mine-
of your screen, there should be a mute button, the microphone, and when you hit that, it'll mute you. And then when you're ready to speak, you could unmute.
Oh dear.
The bottom left-hand corner, and Gloria, if you look into your controls as a co-host, you should be able to mute all but the active speakers.
All right, take a breath. We're going to have to get some help to remove these obstacles in our consciousness. Ganesha, get rid of these limitations, these barriers, these old beliefs. Thank you. Aloha. Okay, got your water? You know, you guys bring out the silliness in me from this pee drinking. I don't know where it comes from.
Can you hear me?
Who?
This is Rosalind. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't see you anymore, but I tried to mute myself, but now I lost you.
Okay, what's going to be in your? It's going to be in your settings, and we're going to keep moving here. If you can get some help from somebody, I'm going to private chat somebody.
Okay.
Yeah,
no
shoot me a
problem.
private chat if you need some help and I can get you guided through these controls.
Okay.
Naomi, can you hear me or see me?
Yes, we
I
can.
can
Hi,
hear
Miss
you.
Nancy.
We don't necessarily need to see you if you don't want to be on camera. It's completely voluntary.
Okay.
Oh, but I must caution you, as a Course in Miracles student, we know that all minds and all hearts are in constant communication, so we can see you. We see you.
That's right. That's right.
All right, now, this is a prayer. It's called the Sacred Water Prayer. Keep your golden water nearby. You guys are familiar with kirtan and chanting groups?
No.
Okay, kirtan is basically people get together and they sing devotional music to the divine. Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Krishna, all of that stuff. So the way it works is somebody is the caller, in this case me, and you guys respond by repeating whatever I said. Does that make sense? All right. Everybody muted? Okay, here we go. I take this water of life.
I take this water of life.
Of life. I'm not going to hold it up because I need my hand. But I take this water of life. I declare it the water of light.
I declare it the water of light.
As I bring this water within this body.
As I bring this water to this body.
In this body, it allows me to glow.
It allows me to glow.
I take this water of light.
I take this water of light.
I declare it the water of God or Creator.
I declare it the water of God that He created.
You call it the Creator, love, whatever you want. I am the master of all that I do and all that I am.
I am the master of all I do and all that I am. And you guys can join me. Everybody join.
Let's see your glasses. We're going to toast. So the Shiva water that pours through you as often as you're willing to let it, and you're able to return it. This is the best recycling program and machine on the planet. It's called the human body. Cheers.
Cheers.
24 hours old. It's a good year. Gloria. I'm going to hand the show over to Gloria.
I am so grateful for everybody being here. And thank you so much, Brother Sage, for doing the Zoom with us. And
Okay.
Brother Sage normally charges for his Zoom, so he understands the need of everybody that needs help. And so he did the Zoom for free with us. And thank you, Brother Sage, for doing that.
Well, we're gaining momentum in this movement. By the way, we've calculated up to 800 million people in 50 nations drinking pee, doing urine therapy. So we've hit the crest. We've already passed the old paradigm. We're tipping the point as we speak. Go ahead.
Amazing. I would like for you first maybe to go over some of your Shivambhu list of wisdom.
Sure. Okay, guys. If anybody wants a copy of the Shivambhu Wisdom Chart, which is a beautiful chart that outlines all the basic PowerPoints of why Shivambhu is what it is and why I work, for the beautiful illustration of Shiva on the side, just email me at gitsoms@gmail.com, gitsoms@gmail.com. It's an acronym for God is the source of my supply. That should be easy.
Awesome.
Okay, number one. And I'm going to acknowledge that everybody knows the number one when it comes to using urine therapy. Some call it Orina if you're in a Spanish-speaking country, Zito if you're in Africa. There's a beautiful sister, Stampana Osentosi, who's out in Botswana. She calls it you juice, which in their language means it's your juice. It's you juice. Okay, so the number one thing to remember is that this water is an intuitive elixir. Notice I don't say intuitive medicine because that's a fake system and I don't acknowledge that. So it's an intuitive elixir, remedy, use whatever word you want. Any questions about that? I said this for a reason because Gloria is finding this out, and some of you other people, and I'd love to talk to you about being urine therapy teachers, therapists, specialists sometime. Reach out to me about that. Is that there are people coming up to you with questions upon questions upon questions. Should I take it when I'm doing medicine? Should I do it late at night? How much is enough? Do I just do the midstream? All these questions are going to come your way, and it's going to be answered by what is your gut feelings, what your intuition tell you. See, part of our work, guys, is to empower people to use their God-given talents, abilities, and water to have a great life. Number two, any questions about intuitive medicine? Oops, elixir. Good. Number two, Shivambhu works regardless of your consideration. You guys are either going to stay with me on this one or you're going to jump off the call. But it works regardless of what you think about it. All right? If you're a man, you can use a woman's orange. If you're a child, you can use adults. If you're an adult, you can use a child. If you're a different race, you can use each other's arena. If it's a different species, a dog, a camel, a cow, a goat, like they do in Pakistan and in India, you can still use it to heal yourself. It works regardless if the person's healthy or sick. It's a universal panacea. With what we've discovered out of a university in Alberta, Canada, over 4,690 nutrients, compounds are in your water. All right. Number three, the only thing you cannot heal, listen closely, you're going to get people telling you they have the incurable disease. The only thing you cannot heal is what you believe you cannot heal. Y'all understand that?
All right.
All right. It's the same. Desiree? Okay. So the same thing applies to your life and your success and everything you're wanting to move forward in your life. If you believe you'll be a success in this, that, and the other area, you will. Are we on number three?
Number three.
Number three, saturation dosing. Now, I started writing these in my books about 3 or 4 books ago. Saturation dosing is the quantum version of just drinking the orange. Because if you're just drinking the orange, maybe sip looping throughout the day, and I can explain what that means. Looping it throughout the day, if you don't know, just ask. Or adding the protocols. Now, some people think they drink it, that's it, that's done. But you have to look at, now the work that I do is more of a holistic model. You guys have heard of holistic health? Come on, baby boomers, you know this. All right. So holistic health is the balance of all 4 pillars of your health. of your wellness lifestyle: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. You can drink your arena all you want, but if you're still eating garbage, your body's got to work twice as hard, and it's going to be hit or miss whether you notice results. It's the same with if you're not handling your emotions and your stress, you're not handling the people who bring you emotional stress, that also takes its toll on your body. We're not even talking about things that float out of the air that's been poisoning us for so many years. So saturation dosing is bringing in more of the protocols. And the protocols is everything from neti pot, eye cups, everybody's buddy.
No, thank you.
This is very intimate. So I'm not going to show you everything there is, but one thing you got to, since we're doing protocols, there's a few things I highly recommend you keep in the shower and the bath when you go in there. Whether you still use, how many still use the city water? Some people still use city water, no problemo, because this will alchemize everything. This is actually number 4. This past saturation dosing. Shivambhu will alchemize, neutralize, and sterilize anything it touches. Anybody have any questions of what that means? Because I'm about to explain. Yeah. Thank you. So what we're talking about is being able to get your health back using this water. And this is what I'm talking about. What neutralize and sterilize and alchemize means is that anything that gets in its water, it's going to be sterilized. It's going to be neutralized. And one example is when people have oral health issues. Here's an example of how this works. People have gum health and they start gargling with their arena. They're swishing it, they're pulling it, which basically means to hold it like coconut oil for 10 minutes. They're swallowing it. What it did was it took whatever bacteria was in the mouth, it sterilized it. It changed its whole molecular structure. It is now the same frequency. It is now the orange. So swallow it. You understand how that works? I mean, here's another example. People are in the bath and they want to have an orange bath, but they haven't collected gallons and gallons of this. So they put in like 2 or 3 gallons and they fill the rest of the tub with city water. I wouldn't sweat it, guys. You just purified your water.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the jokes in this community is you're giving yourself an enema, you're doing something on the counter, and you spill some of your pee on the floor and you're down thinking you have to clean it up. You realize, I just cleansed my floor. I just antibacterialized my floor with my pee. You see, there's a lot of shifting, internal shifting is going to happen as we go further on with this.
You know, it's the same with mouthwash. So I don't use mouthwash anymore, and my urotherapy is my mouthwash.
Perfect, perfect.
Because the mouthwash is also has chemicals and poisons.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. No, yeah. But like she said. So this is a very powerful water. I would venture to say this holy water, the water of Shiva. Now, by the way, you hear me and you hear other people use the word Shivambhu a lot. You guys know what that means?
No.
Shivambhu is a Hindu word. If you take it apart, Shiva, A-M-B-H-U on the right side, it means the water of Shiva, or it means the blood of the Lord. And in our case, we're talking about golden filtered blood plasma, not the red blood cells, not that one. Okay, so you might say that Shivambhu is in a category of itself. So here we are trying to explain the infinite in whatever context and terms we can. So people go, no wonder it makes a big difference in your life. And the very last thing is, you just got to drink it. You'll find out what the benefits are soon enough. If someone asks you if it is good for diabetes, multiple sclerosis, this, that, and the other thing, and you don't want to come across like a doctor or a medical kind of person, just simply use the old answer that a lot of people use in nutritional companies. I don't know about that. All I know is that when I drink it, I feel better.
I feel great. Yes.
All right, Gloria, back to you.
Okay. You know, now that we're talking a little bit about the ultra plasma filtrate and how it's actually ultra filtered blood,
yes.
You know, then it's okay for women then to still do urotherapy while they're on their menstrual
Yes.
month, right? I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people on the planet who actually consume menstrual blood.
Yeah.
Because they say that all the waters that come out of us have use. And
Amen.
not to be seen as disgusting.
It's very true.
Mhm.
And let's see here. Let me try to check some of these off as I go. We could talk to I guess we could talk a little bit about like aging and benefits.
Excellent,
Hey
excellent.
everyone, Tyrone here. How's it going?
Good, Tyrone. So the question is aged and aging, how to do it, what to do with it, the whole teaching about age during. First of all,
Gloria, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So you know how you said you don't use mouthwash?
That I don't.
Yeah.
Look at how beautiful my teeth have getting. My teeth are getting whiter too. It's amazing.
Do you use like an alternative? Nice.
I had a tooth pain and I took my month-year-old aged urine and I used it as a mouthwash and it took the pain away.
Wow.
And Dr. Group talks more about that as well, about using it to heal your gums.
Okay, thank you. Do you add anything to your urine or?
Well, that's cool.
I add distilled water or drink it straight. Or
Okay.
sometimes when I'm aging it, for me, I haven't tried enemas, and Brother Sage is going to explore more ways of doing aging right now. But for me, I just have been drinking my urine. So I drank even month-and-a-half-old urine. And by that time, I only needed a dropper full of it. And I mixed it with tea. And it was still pretty like, you know, you could taste it. But the healing benefits, oh my God. When it was gone, I was sad. It was gone because
you drink your own urine?
yes, sir. That's what this is.
are you?
Well, I'm trying to get into that, but it's just a little disgusting for me right now. Does that ever go away?
It does,
Yes.
Jeffrey. If you want to have that talk, reach to us privately, please.
All right.
We're going to let Brother Sage continue on with aging techniques.
Of course.
Wait, can you possibly share?
So aged urine, I no longer call it aged urine except in clarification purposes in the right audience, but I've been calling it evolved and evolving urine because it gains in stem cells, antibodies, nutrients, life force, etc. So if you hear me say evolved, you'll understand what the reference point is. Now, one thing about the process of its maturing, aging, evolving is nobody's as yet to establish a reference point for measuring how many days, weeks, months, years qualifies it to be qualified as aged urine. All right, John W. Armstrong, who wrote the book in 1944, Water of Life, he said 4 days, as was his point of measurement. I went to the Water of Life Symposium in Las Vegas in 2018, and Dr. Rosalind Hansen equates it in relationship to gestation and birth. She says 9 months was her way of measuring it. So it's going to be an intuitive thing on your part, guys. Just know this, the moment you collect it, it is evolving. This is like supernatural. It's like out of this world stuff. It just gets better and better and better. So you can keep it. Most people keep their stored urine in glass containers, ball jars, whatever, mason jars. And I'm going to explain that that's a belief. And you don't have to get dogmatic. There's really no dogma in this movement. So whatever works for you, just trust that. Some people in countries that don't have glass, Africa and other countries, they use plastic. And they take the mindset that urine is greater than plastic. You with me so far?
Yeah, that's
Great.
amazing.
It's amazing. So people either cover it with cheesecloth, cotton, a sprout bag that has hemp and flax in it. Some people use a nylon stocking, and then there's people like me, they just screw on the lid.
That's me too. I just end up putting it on a lid, like putting a lid, because I have had people reach out to me saying that even with the cheesecloth, sometimes stuff gets inside while they're aging, and I've had none of those problems with just using a mason jar and putting a lid on it.
Yeah, because nothing can contaminate it. The only reason you cover it is so nothing gets in that's flying around and drop it in.
Yeah.
So people ask the question, is it better than fresh? Should I use it? I mean, some people don't even know. They're kind of a little bit intimidated by it. Should I use it? Should I not use it? First of all, so we can get over our negative association about those words, aged and aging. That usually brings to mind people of something that's losing its power, losing its strength, its potency, like an old man or an old woman. So this is why I've been playing with the words.
We could use the word supercharge too, because that's what it does.
It does.
You supercharge it.
It definitely does supercharge it. So intuitively, people ask, should I replace it for nose? Use snorting up the nose, drinking up the nose, putting it on the eyes, the ears, up your bum inside an enema, fasting on it. You definitely can, but there's a few cautions. There's a few cautions you want to take, that particularly if your diet hasn't been really spot on, like raw foods and fruitarianism, you might have if you're going to snort it up your nose, put it in your eyes or sensitive areas, you might have what we call the 3-second sting. Oh my God, that's going to sting. It stung. So clean up your diet and lessen that, so that, or you can dilute it with either distilled water or fresh orange. All right. How much to use is up to you. Some people have switched. They made the big switch and that's all they use, either orally or topically, is the evolving orange. So once again, it's an intuitive option on your part.
Amazing. Yes, there's a lot of people that are reaching out to me saying they have used it topically, have had elbow pains or pains in their body, used it topically, and the pain's going away. One thing I want to explore, because I do want to age my urine again, and I want to explore more with that 1.5-month-old urine, because I mean, the benefits were just miraculous. So then, what about like using the cotton ball and taping it to your belly button? Okay, yes, I was asking because I want to explore more maybe of using the cotton ball and the belly button to get that 1.5-month-old urine. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
maybe that's an easy way to do it. Even though it's strong, you won't have to taste anything.
Yeah, well, I'd say follow your intuition. It's a great idea. Some people either put something, if they're going to lay down and this is soaked, they put a washcloth, something heavy that holds it in their belly, or they might put it over, put their panties, whatever over, something that holds it in place. You don't have to do the the duct tape. That's a little bit extreme, but yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's a good idea. A washcloth, yeah.
Something that'll
Awesome.
lay down. By the way, guys, there are certain things you want to keep on you at all times. If you like to be a Shivambhu enthusiast and you want a Shivambhu spa wherever you go, the things that I keep in my car, backpack, and house are things you'll want to have. And of course, I've got 2 quarts in the back of the car at all times, because you never know when you can pull over somewhere and go somewhere and do a rub down. And so you want to have that available. If you have any cuts or scratches or dents, mosquito bite, sunburn, always keep cotton balls around, because you're covered. You can take care of the matter. Little cosmetic, okay? Where are these guys? 2 types of spray bottles, either a plunger or a spray top or a plunger. Because if you have these in your car, if you need to get some in your eyes or up your nose or wherever, you're covered. Okay? These are a couple of bucks on Temu, Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. And last but not least, something that I started using a lot a couple of years ago in the shower and the bathtub is a 1 quart. Hi, Josephine. Look at, she's got her whole family.
Here.
That's so sweet. That's so beautiful.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, this is helping me out, so I'm trying to teach them that it cures our body.
Yep. Thank you for being courageous enough to be on this call. We're hearing more and more people with their kids. Her daughter has started, and she was like 9 or 10 at the time. She's now a beautiful 12-year-old. So we're watching, families share practice. All right, Gloria.
All right. What about, so we talked about aging, and I guess that would that be the best process to like speed up the benefits and the healing? It would be aging, correct?
Well, I love these questions that are broad-based questions because the answer is yes and no. I'm going to answer it the same way I answer people who say, will it cure everything? I say yes and no. If you don't change your whole lifestyle and the way you approach food and the way you approach your emotions and the way you approach your creator and relationships and nature and all that stuff, it's going to be harder for you to get your health and your mind back.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And all this is doable because it's just a simple practice. The people who really nail this, and I can see some of you have been developing your own lifestyle that works for you. You get results every day. You don't have to change it. It's a daily practice.
I can tell just if I eat one meal of gluten, my urine is so dark and doesn't taste good. So now I've, moved into really trying to be gluten free and not have sugar. And then it's just tastes like water. It's so easy to drink.
Yeah. Has anybody on this call done any fasting with urine?
I did
Yeah.
This is 3 days, Nancy?
I did a 3-day urine fast.
3 days. And during the 3 days, did you think about food?
No, I wasn't hungry at all.
Excellent.
But my body's in a weakened condition from being so sick. So I got really weak. So I ended it. I was going to go more days, but I knew that my body wasn't ready yet because I've been sick for about 8 months.
How are you feeling now?
What happened is I accidentally stepped on 5 nails and I went and got a tetanus shot, and I should have never gotten it because the tetanus shot caused me the next morning to pass out over backwards, to vomit, to have diarrhea. I had a terrible reaction from it. Every orifice of my body wanted to get rid of whatever was in that shot. And then 2 days later, I developed face and eye shingles on my right side. And I was a burned, scalded chicken. And for 3 months, I laid in bed. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't function. And I lost 31 pounds. And then and I've never been sick in my whole life. So then the scabs and stuff healed up. But now I'm left with the nerve pain from the damage of the burning on my head. And I started urine therapy on June 6th. And the next day I noticed a difference and my energy level has come back. I started on July 22. I started on copperine from Dr. Talbron, and my fatigue level just left. So I don't get tired anymore. I feel pretty normal now, except for this burning pain. So Dr. Brian Artis suggested putting calcium lactate, crush it up in a bowl and adding drips of water till it comes like a toothpaste consistency, and putting that on for let it set for 45 minutes and dry, and then let it set another 45 minutes and then wash it off, and then use EDTA cream on it. So that's on my face. So I've been doing that for 2 days. So then I put it on and I put the EDTA cream on afterwards for 2 hours, and then I wash it off. And I've done that for 2 days now. This is the second day. It has helped. It has definitely helped, especially around the eye, and that I'm able to rub my eye or clean my eye without this terrible burning. But I know it's not everything. So I told my husband I was going to take urine and put it on a pad and pack it on my head and leave it on my head and just add more urine to it. I did that when I had a second outbreak of shingles on my rib cage, and within 10 days it was gone from the urine poultices. And so I thought, wow, why haven't I done that for my head? But I haven't because I couldn't touch it. But now that I've done this 2 days with the calcium lactate crushed up, I think I can wear a urine pad on my forehead, and hopefully that will help heal. And I'm drinking my urine too. And I'm eating a vegan vegetarian diet. I'm drinking pure water.
All right, Nancy. Nancy.
Yes.
Okay. Are you still in front of the screen, Nancy?
Yeah. hmm
Everybody, look how good, how gorgeous she looks.
Yes, she does.
She
Yeah.
looks
Yeah. From being to where I couldn't even move. Yeah. Thanks to Gloria. She was
Aw.
the one who bravely spoke out on the Jonathan Otto series. I still didn't do it for 3 more series. And then one day I thought, what have I got to lose? I'm dying. So June 6th, I just went in the bathroom and said a prayer and drank my urine. And I noticed the next day an immediate difference. So it's, I don't think healing is a straight line. It's up and down and it takes time. And there's trillions of cells in this body that have to be repaired. So I'm great. I have my energy back. I'm doing everything, but the last 2 days I've been pretty sore with this sucker here. So
All right. Well, Nancy, if you ever want to do a one-on-one with me, you can either reach me through my email or through brothersage.com. Same with everybody here. I do live coaching and self-mastery talks, consultations to anyone on the planet. So you can reach me through brothersage.com if you have an interest.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Rosalind.
Oh, hi. Well, I'm Rosalind Bodiford. I'm in Dallas. I know Dr. Artis, by the way.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just give you a little bit of background real quick. Try to keep this general for everyone's benefit, not just myself. I've been practicing for 40 years. As when I was very young, it didn't take but less than 30 minutes to cure any problem I had. As I got older, I encountered lead poisoning and this and that and whatever. I tried, when I got rheumatoid arthritis, I tried to self-heal myself with urine and fasting. But I needed guidance and I was I was poisoned. I was pretty desperate and I had no support system whatsoever. 40 years ago, this practice was not very well known and it was not practiced. I was really an island by myself. And had I had the support, it would have made all the difference in the world. Because when you have an autoimmune disease that's caused by poisoning, you have to know what you're doing and you have to take your blood pressure and you can't just fast on 3 pieces of orange and think you're going to be okay. But I thought I was, and it was a disaster. Fainting in bed, fainting in bed. So finally my husband said, you got to go see a doctor or you're going to die. And I opted to go see a doctor, but I knew that secretly there was an aspect in my hands, there was some significant proof that the urine was working regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But I got scared. Had I continued, I think, and if I had been supported, like I said, to repeat, I think I would have gotten rid of this. This was in 2005. So imagine.
Rosalind, what was it that scared you?
The rheumatoid arthritis. I was afraid of getting my fingers and my feet were starting to deviate, and I would have been a cripple. And I had seen other women who were painters and with lead poisoning, cad poisoning, titanium, you name it, where they couldn't walk. It was serious.
So would you say that it was like divine intervention, that urine therapy showed up when it did in your life?
No, I knew about this long before that. I knew about it 20 years before. No, I started during that was 20 years ago that I got sick. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I gotta do this, And I didn't have the support system. And my goal right now is I'm taking a drug from malaria that affects rheumatoid arthritis to calm down and be in remission.
Yeah.
But, I really want to do this completely with just urine. And I'm almost there because I do take my urine every day, even though I take this cockamania drug.
Rosalind, did you just state your intention on this call that you want to be
Yeah.
healthy and
Yes,
fit for this?
sir, I did.
Okay,
There
do
you
you see all these supportive faces on the screen that are
No,
hearing you
I
and
wish-
loving you?
I don't see anybody but yours. I wish I could. I'm on my phone. I don't know how to see everybody. But I
Well,
know you're there.
we're all right here. And one thing I would like to remind everybody on this call, especially Rosalind, since she had the courage to be able to speak up in front of all these people she can't see. And there is a wealth, and I do mean a wealth of love and support from the Water family communities on dozens of social media platforms. There's like 26 on Facebook, Instagram,
Wow.
Telegram. There's 6 on Telegram. If you go to Shivambhu Hut, which is let me show this to you. We've got almost 1,200 members now. And what I'm getting at is that these people, why would I say it that way? I'm part of the people. The people in the Water family embrace and love you however you show up. I mean, who else can you admit you drink your pee to?
I know it. It's a relief. It's a huge relief for me because I kept it secret. I only told a very few people in my life. My husband knows, my son knows, but really and truly, it's good to be. Why not? Why shouldn't we talk about this? I mean, come on, let's make it mainstream. Enough is enough. It's enough. We have to just speak up, and this is it. This is the true medicine. I'm an avid homeopathic. I don't practice for others, but for myself. My dad was a homeopath. My brother was an MD homeopath. And urine still prevails as number one, no matter what. And my dad died as a brilliant man at 92. And he said, if I would start over, the only thing I would do is urine. That's it.
Well, he's right on. And what I want to tell you is that you're already stepped up into the teacher position. Just the fact that you're announcing this publicly.
Oh.
I mean, people don't realize that this thing is going to be published and shared with the planet.
Okay. It has to be. It has to be. It cannot be that we continue like this. It cannot.
No, it cannot. And we are at a pivotal turning point in human history because more and more people are popping awake every day. They can see that the medical thing is all a fake. And most of the stuff we were led to believe wasn't true either. So this is why urine therapy is coming into people's radars because they're looking for answers. And here's a bunch of joyous, loving people chatting about it every day. So what I'd like to do is give the call back to Gloria. And
thank you so much, Rosalind, for sharing your testimony. It is beautiful. And we all do need, and look at us all on this call right here. We're making it normal to be able to talk about this stuff. So that's beautiful.
Well, and it's not repugnant. It was to me in the beginning, you know that, Gloria. In the beginning, I was like, I'm not going to do that. But I've since realized that, first of all, I'm drinking pure water. I'm eating pure food. I'm eating, and I mean pure food from our greenhouse in our garden. I'm eating vegetables every day that I grow. My husband grows our own potatoes, our own squash, our own spinach, our own cabbage, our own things, our own tomatoes. So I know that my body is clean and pure by the way I'm eating, the water I'm drinking. So I changed my mind. I went, why would I think that my urine is bad? It's not. My body is clean. My mind is pure. My heart is pure. Why would I think that some excess liquid that comes out of my body is not pure and good? My child swam in my womb in my urine for 9 months. And she was created from that. And I realized that after Gloria had bravely spoken out, like you're speaking out, And then I thought, well, I'm dying. I need to try this. And now I realize that it is the water of life. It does put back in your own stem cells. It is your own antibacterial. It's your own vaccine. So I thank you for speaking out. And I don't care who thinks that I am crazy for doing this or that, because I feel sorry for them, because Big Pharma is going to take them down. And
Nancy, can I ask a quick question before I have to go? I have a hard stop in like 10 minutes.
Sure.
So I have a question, because I've been getting this question a lot. For someone who has poor kidney functioning right now, how is it best for them to proceed if they wanted to try this? Is it safe? How do they go about it? And then I also wanted to mention in the chat, I placed a link. I did an update this morning about the nonprofit that I'm kicking off this month. So if you'd really like to be updated, I would really please appreciate you viewing it and then sharing it, get the word out.
Sure.
Because this is meant to help everybody, support everybody. And
Yeah,
if someone would step up and like maybe handle the chat for me, I'm going to be leaving you guys in about 10 minutes. I just want to share all my love and support for you all, you beautiful souls that are brave to like really take an interest in this and to embrace it as a therapy. So thank you and God bless. And I'll just let you answer my question now.
I can't speak to if you have a kidney failure, kidney problems, or I can't speak to that. I don't have enough experience. I can only speak for what has healed me from the COVID, from the shedding, from the tetanus shot, the shingles, and that I can only speak to that. So I honestly, I don't know. I have heard that if you have a kidney infection or kidney problems, that you need to proceed with intelligence and knowledge of what you're doing. But other than that, I don't know. And I do follow you on Facebook and Twitter, so I'll watch for your nonprofit.
I would like to contribute, if I may.
Go ahead.
Sure. With the kidney problem, can I be heard? Am I being heard?
Yeah,
we can hear you. So my uncle, my father's brother died from dialysis. When my father was in the same situation, the doctor said, Dr. Feuerstein, when you come here for dialysis, you're finished. You might as well just, write it off, you're done. So he did 2 months of completely meatless diet, and he was a big meat eater, completely, almost hardly any dairy, but mainly no meat. And he did urine therapy, and he was on medication. He was taking a whole bunch of pills every day for the heart, for this and that, whatever. But that's what he did. And when he went back to the hospital for testing, his keratin level was completely normal. And they said to the orderlies at the hospital, leave Dr. Feuerstein alone because he knows what he's doing. His kidneys are 100% perfect. Just send him home.
Wow, that's a great testimony.
Good to hear. Good
Yeah.
to hear. Thank you, Rosalind.
You're welcome.
There's a lot to be said for a clean diet.
Clean diet is the biggest thing that people have to get to in order to have the Shivambhu show its full power and strength.
Yeah, I had a gum infection clear up. It was my first experience with health. My probes were 9s and 10s. The dentist said, you're going to lose all your teeth. And my dad had gotten real sick and passed away during that time, so I didn't go to have the surgery done. When I got home from burying my dad, I went to the health food store and sat on the floor in front of the books and thought I need to take better care of myself. My dad died from acute leukemia within 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but he had it for 10 years, I'm sure, before they diagnosed it. But anyway, I read this book it was called Licking the Sugar Habit by Dr. Nancy Appleton. And in it was a section on colon and liver cleansing. I said, well, I'll start there. So it had this diet. All you ate was any kind of brown rice you wanted, or any kind of rice, but it had to be whole grain. Any kind of beans you wanted, it had to be whole grain. and the rest of your plate had to be raw vegetables. 3/4 of your plate had to be raw. So I did that. I was grieving for my dad, so I ate this diet. And I told my husband, I don't want to eat anything else. Can we just eat this for a while? Wait there for a while. And he says, ah, sure, fine. So we just ate beans and rice and vegetables and water for 6 months. And then my friend Sue Sin said to me, Nancy, will you bury your dad? She said, I'm so tired of you grieving. And I go, yeah, it's time. So the first thing I did is make a dental appointment. And the same thing, Rosalind, that happened with your dad happened with my dad. When I went back to the dentist said, what have you been doing? And I said, why? And he said, your gums are completely healed. I've never seen a periodontal disease like this reverse. And I said, all I did is eat this food. So that was in 1994. That was my first experience with diet and food. And so I knew there was healing in your diet and food, but I never knew about the urotherapy until now. So now the combination, hopefully, it's getting me well, but hopefully I can get well quicker than I am.
All right. Well, you mentioned another key element that makes this work. Now, this is Sunday, so I get to preach. One of the things that really makes this work, now I consult with people on the very edge of life. Their pain is activated, they're in trauma mode, they're scared, and they're reaching out for help. All right. So you have to ensure faith and fearlessness in people. People who want to make the change, they can start the urine therapy, but the ones that do make the change are the ones that are totally committed and giving it their all to do whatever it takes to change whatever they're doing that's not giving them the results, and they can get their health back. There's all these testimonies are coming out every day.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I do now is I do eat eggs. I just don't know if I should just go back to completely vegan vegetarian, but I have added eggs about 3 times a week. What do you think of that?
Well, the food journey and the food trip is a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
what's your personal opinion of eggs?
It's a personal thing without getting into food dogma, because most people are slaves to food. They have not stepped away to realize where their energy and their nutrients are really coming from. So I wouldn't judge people for their food trips. But I would get away from anything related to the dairy industry, the meat industry, cheese, yogurt, ice cream. I'd get them off of that as soon as possible.
Yeah, I've gotten rid of those. The eggs that I use are like hormone free and all this. They're from a farm in Santa Rosa, California. And they're the only ones that didn't give me hot flashes. Whenever I eat regular eggs just off the shelf, I get hot flashes, terrible. But when I use these eggs from this farm in Sonoma, who are very health conscious, I don't get the hot flashes. And I mean, I'm past the menopause stage, but I did notice that that's what eggs did to me. But,
well, it sounds like you're making good choices, and ST over here has been waiting to share for quite some time.
Go ahead.
ST, unmute yourself.
Hello, Brother Sage. Hi, everybody. I just had like 2 questions. I'm kind of young. I'm only 24, but I do intermittent fasting every day. That's my first question, and I'm currently transitioned from 16/8 to 24. And I was wondering, during those intermittent hours, which is the 20 hours, does drinking urine affect autophagy? Like, because I'm basically dry fasting.
Well, it's not gonna have any negative effects or side effects of whatever you're doing, whether you're dry fasting or eating.
No, but I mean, you know how when you're intermittent fasting, you're not supposed to consume anything. So I was wondering, does consuming my urine affect that? Like, does it stop the fast, basically?
No, it does. It does not interfere with the dry fast.
Okay, I didn't know that. And my last question was, earlier I heard someone mention something about swishing around urine in their mouth, and I was wondering, do you guys spit that out, or do you swallow that after you swished it around?
Anybody else want to feel that? Because I got the answer.
Swallow it.
Swallow it. It's already been sterilized by the urine.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You're worth it. Thanks for jumping on.
Do you mind if I could ask a question, please?
Who's speaking?
It's Riley.
Oh, there you are, brother. Yeah. Let's hear your question.
Cool. Thanks for doing the call today. It's been really informative. I appreciate it, Brother Sage.
Glad to have you.
And everyone else on here. This one's for Gloria. I was wondering, with your journey through recovering from the COVID injections, I've heard some of you've mentioned publicly in that, but I was wondering, have you had any follow-ups in regards with gut microbiome testing and bloods and stuff like lymphocyte surface markers and white blood cell counts and things of this type of nature? Has there been any sort of panels done like that?
Unfortunately, like where I live, I still have not even been able to find a doctor that will believe me that I was injured by the vaccine. So therefore, I have not been able to find a doctor that will give me any test. If I was still going by the doctor's thing, I would be completely sick right now and have no help. When I went to the doctor here, they told me that all my problems, and when I took the vaccine, I had a double menstrual cycle, heart palpitations, high blood pressure, and within 2 months, I was double cycling. So I was bleeding like 16 plus days a month. And then I go to the doctor and they tell me that my problems are from anxiety. They offer me no help, no care. So I just did everything I can to continue to find detoxing. And it wasn't until the urotherapy that I was able to start finding relief. But I can say I haven't had a test on my gut, but my gut is empty for the first time in my life. In 3 weeks from starting urotherapy, I lost 18 pounds of toxins from my gut and all over my body. And today I'm down 26 pounds of toxins.
And you look great.
Well, thank you. It's been amazing. And I feel great. And like you could see in my eyes, like my eyes used to be glassed over when I was injured. I just don't look like that anymore. Oh, and I had to completely stop all my gym routines because it felt like I was going to have a heart attack. And now I'm back swimming laps, lifting weights. I could do it all. And to go a step further, I'm building myself up. I've never been able to do a pull-up in my life. And my body is finally starting to feel like that the day is going to come. I'm going to build up my muscle and I'm going to be able to do a pull-up for the first time.
That's awesome. That actually really rings home to me because I was a strength and conditioning coach. So I was really interested to see if anyone who's been doing this therapies has made a recovery in such a way that they can actually go back to the capacity for training, because that's the thing I miss the most from my vaccine.
Even today, I'm back stronger than I was. I think that like when I go this winter, if I go snowboard, I think I'm going to be able to snowboard better than when I was 20. I feel stronger today than the day I took the shot. So and when I'm swimming laps, I can hold my breath like for a crazy long amount of time than I ever have. Even when I was a kid, I'm swimming and I feel like I'm swimming fast through the water. Like it's miraculous, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I've been in touch with a guy through my coaching network, and he's been really great with doing my gut microbiome, because I've had every single thing under the sun because my immune system was so run down, and I've only had one shot of the Novavax, and I had a previous infection of COVID at the start of COVID, and like he said, with my gut microbiome, there's only like one, like I only needed candida, and then I had the whole lot. Like it was one of the worst guts that he's seen. So I've been doing a lot of peptide protocols as well to help my heart and rebuild my brain, like using TB500 and a few other NHK, these other peptides, and they've been helping. But I'm thinking that after hearing your story, the the urine therapy is like probably a little piece in the puzzle that's missing for me. And now I'm in this crossroads of, because I've got such good results from this protocol, and this guy's helped me out a lot, especially with my eating. I've always been very clean with my eating, for the most part. And I'm thinking, do I just go into this 100% urine therapy and then do away with the other protocol? What's going to yield results? I've just had some bloods come back where my urea was pretty high though. So, and my liver had some inflammatory markers. So that's the part where I'm a little bit hesitant. Yeah, go on. Sorry. Thanks.
Your confidence is high enough and your courage is strong enough for you to make that decision right now without letting days and weeks and months go by. You're at a turning point in your life, and you could just simply have that as your intention. You can move into this new lifestyle that you talk about. Are you open to that?
No, yeah, I'm definitely open to that. I want to heal.
My husband wanted to say something to this young man. This is Jim.
Hi, Jim.
G'day, Jim.
I had an experience with shedding. When I was 72, I did 72 pull-ups, and I would be doing 5 miles in the river sand 3 times a week, 5 miles 3 times a week. And then I was exposed to shedding, and both my legs swelled up with blood clots and swelling up to the calf and beyond the calf. And I got scared and I stopped working out and jogging and exercising. And I learned from Dr. Ardis of using nicotine and NAC and vitamin C and other medications. And the swelling went down, but I was scared to go back and start my routine exercises again, because I know the swelling and the clots represented micro clots, and which can only be seen through the dimer tests. But I don't want to go. I don't have a doctor, and I would never go to a hospital or doctor. So I started the urine therapy about six months ago, and I was determined, because I've worked out all my life, I was determined to start back jogging, and I have, and start back doing pull-ups on the high bar and different exercises. I have found that the numbness that was in my feet was diminishing after the nicotine and NAC and so forth. And it continued to diminish more so when I started the urine therapy. And that gave me boldness to go back to my exercises. Now, I'd like to share something with you quickly. I've written 2 books on criticizing pharmaceutical medicine. And so I have a research mind. And I started research to urea to find out why it was so effective. And I discovered, as has been said before, a baby lives 9 months in the womb in a urine bath, and it inhales its own urine. I found out that if a baby stops urinating in its mother's womb, then its brain and lungs and organs and heart stop developing, and the baby dies. And they've had to do surgeries to remove any blockages that would prevent the fetus from urinating. And then the baby would start developing again and become born natural before. So I looked further into it, and I began to compare urine with lymph liquid in the cells. And I found that there's almost no difference between urine coming from the kidneys and the lymph liquid in our bodies. Our entire bodies are washed in, as it were, a urine bath. All our lives, we're 72% water, and that water bathes every cell and organs and so forth. I found that urine has water, urea, creatine, uric acid, enzymes, carbohydrates, hormones, fatty acids, and lots of salts, sodium, potassium, chlorine, and so forth. And then I looked up lymph water, and lymph water has almost identical composition of urine. So what's the difference? The difference is this. in the liquid around the cells and organs, we call it lymph water. That's the medium through which white blood cells and antibodies and so on penetrate us and heal the body. And then the lymph nodes filter out the bad products in the lymph liquid and sends it to the colon as feces, and then returns the filtered urea or blood plasma back into the heart, and it's pumped around. So it's a continual cycle. Yeah. And urine from the kidneys is pumped into the bladder. It's not a waste product. It doesn't go to the colon. It stays within the bladder for a reservoir for our self-medication. And so intaking urine is no different from intaking the blood plasma without red blood cells or the lymph liquid in the body. So people that say that urine is harmful, is bad, it's a waste product, they have completely missed the point and are ignorant of how the body works. We are bathed in urine as a kid, as a baby, and we live in a urine bath as adults. And God has given us urine as a means of self-healing. Now, there are toxins, about 1,000 toxins in very trace form in the urine, but that's not harmful to the body because when you ingest it, those 1,000 toxins serve as stimuli to the immune system to condition the body to fight any diseases you may come in contact with. That's my 2 cents.
So as you can see why between him and Gloria, I decided to go ahead and start your therapy.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, mate. Like, that's a really good explanation. I haven't had a face-to-face with anyone to give me that much detail around it. So thanks for sharing that. And also that's really impressive with your athletic feat still at such a 72 years young.
I'm back up. I'm 76 now, and I'm back up to jogging 3 times a week, 3 miles each morning.
Not a day over 21, mate. You don't look a day over 21.
And he took down 11 trees and chopped them all up and got the wood ready for winter.
He's just showing off now.
I spent 3 months splitting 12 trees after cutting them up with a chainsaw. I split them with them all on the side of a hill. And now I'm picking up the wood that I've split, maybe about 30, 40 cords, going up the hill, cutting the wood, bringing it up the hill, putting it in my truck and taking it to my storage. And immense physical activity and physical work. And urine has not helped. In fact, I drink about 8 ounces in the morning and 8 ounces at night. And under my tongue, I use it under my tongue. And
you've put it in your eyes too, haven't you? I haven't done that yet.
Drops in my eyes, and I find that my vision is keener by putting a few urine drops in my eyes.
I have a quick question for you. You're an inspiration for me, and I know you're going to be an inspiration not only for the people on the screen, but other people who are in your generation and in your age group are going to really benefit. And so what I thought is, since when this is going to be finished and published, you're now going to have a voice on this planet. So if you want anybody to reach out to you, just let me know and we can put contact information for you.
Sure. My book's on Amazon, James Henderson Esquire, and I have about 6 books on Amazon, 2 on medicine, critique of modern medicine. And
if you could type that in the chat feed. Josephine's been wanting to get on the call and just some time, so let's pass it over to her.
Yeah, I just wanted to basically tell a little bit about my story with urine therapy. And like I was injured by the Pfizer injection 2 years ago, and it happened 2 hours after it went into my body. And I had a bruise on my right thigh prior to my injection. And when I got injected, my legs started to burn and had severe neuropathy issues, burning and tingling and crawling sensations. And then it escalated to my foot that I used to go numb. I had like serious problems with my right leg. And then it just went to the rest of my body where I had blood disorder and a ton of things. So I calculated over 50 or more symptoms.
Ouch. And
then for a year and a half, I did pretty much all the protocols that FLCCC and other people that I had researched told me to do. And then something inside of my head told me to try urine therapy. And that happened for about 6 months. I was kind of scared because of the brainwashing that we had been programmed, that it was gross and waste and all this. And then when I learned about the docuseries with Jonathan Otto, something told me I had to watch it. And that's when I learned about Gloria and her testimony from the Pfizer injection and how she struggled for 2 years with her injury. And that's when I knew at that time I had to start drinking urine. And the first day that I started watching the docuseries, I went to the bathroom after hearing Gloria's testimony, and I started drinking my own urine. And instantly, the head pressure, the neuropathy in my hands and my feet and my legs, they all went away. The suicidal thoughts, the pain that was all over my body constantly, like the internal vibrations, the electrical shocks, the 50 or more symptoms started to just disappear instantly. And it was like the holy grail for me anyways, because I struggled for so long. Like, I have 3 children. I'm only 34 years old. And I thought that I was going to end up dying in my sleep because nothing was working for me. I tried ivermectin, I tried the NAC, I tried all the other supplements and detox protocols that was out there. But it seemed like urine therapy was the only thing that really saved my life. And I've been drinking it every single day for 2 months now. And I finally feel better than before my injury. I don't feel like I'm going to die anymore. I don't have any of these neuropathy problems. Like, I can literally feel that this has definitely reversed my injury. And I'm just really, really glad, like Brother Sage said earlier, about divine intervention. I really, really feel, because I was really giving up. I've tried over 100 different ways to heal myself because, like Gloria said, the doctors haven't been helping. Nobody's been able to do any tests and tell us. So basically, it was the only thing that was left for me. And I literally felt like I was going to give up because I've tried so many things. But urine was the only thing that saved my life. And I am so grateful that I watched that docuseries, and I'm so grateful for Gloria's testimony, because she literally saved my life and she literally saved my future with my children. And I'm just really grateful that I found this, and I'm really grateful that you are doing this Zoom meeting to help other people as well, because I'm not going to give up advocating against this medicine, because I know that it works and I know that it's going to help so many people around the world. And I'm just really grateful. So I just wanted to tell you that you can heal by urine therapy, and there's nothing to be scared about at all.
That's so
I
beautiful,
really,
Justine.
yeah, really appreciate that. That actually gives me a lot more faith just hearing that with around the vaccine injuries and everyone else's thing. Just also a quick question with the nicotine patches. Do people still utilize them, or have they had recovery enough that they don't need to utilize them? And for you, Joe, did you utilize that at all, the nicotine?
I actually never tried it. I did hear about Dr. Ardez, and I told my mom's partner, who has now gone blind, because of the Pfizer injection. So I have told him, I know for a fact that he's not going to try the urine therapy right now because they are still a little bit brainwashed to everything that has been going on in the last 3 years. But I told him to try the nicotine patch, and hopefully it will start to reverse the damage inside of his body, because we all have the same receptors inside of our body as nicotine, but it pushes out the venom that is inside of these shots or inside of the food, the water, the air, all over the world. But I myself never tried the nicotine at all. The only thing out of 100+ methods that literally has reversed it instantly was drinking my own urine. Like, I tried so many different protocols. I even created my own out of everybody else's and put it all together, but I still felt like I was dying. I still felt like I was going to pass out in random moments and just die in front of my children. I was terrified that I was going to die in my sleep and they would come in and see me dead in my bed. But as soon as the urine went into my body, that was my lifesaver. That was my holy grail. And now I'm just going around everywhere, talking to other vaccine injured, telling them all about this urine therapy. And I don't even care if people think that I'm crazy. I had a bioweapon put into my body, and that was shutting my body down. And this was the only thing that saved me. And if you've been poisoned and you have 3 beautiful young children who look up to you and you're a single parent, well, you will literally do anything for them, right? Like, I don't care who judges me. I don't care what people say about me. There are people in my personal circle who think that I'm disgusting, but I really don't care, because my children have now will be able to see that I am growing and healing, and I will not die because of this bioweapon. So, but yeah, I have heard a lot of things about the nicotine, that it's good.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, in so many different ways for your courage and your commitment, for your well-being, your healing. Not only blesses your children, but everybody. All right, you have a voice. You found your voice. Congratulations. Let's share it for the people in the movement. And there's going to be more and more people coming every day. Now, I've noticed now the Shivambhu Hut, I mentioned it earlier. It's a social media platform that the organization shivambhu.org developed so we could spread education and awareness about this movement. Well, in 2020, there was only 200 members, and then this fake demic hits, and within 3 years, 333 new members joined every day. Now in 2023, we're at 1,200 members. And so if you want to find out the latest content, testimonials, research, jokes, go join for free over at Shivambhu Hut.
Thank you, Brother Sage. And Josephine, you also have a Facebook group.
Yeah, I have, well, you can add me to Facebook, which is Josephine J. Walsh, and I'll add you. I have a healing group, an enlightened healing group that is on Facebook Messenger, and there's a ton of other vaccine injured that are there, because I believe that out of my circle, since I was the first one to become injured, and I was the first one to awaken last year through everything that was put into my body and about the fake, pandemic that has been happening in the last 3 years, it was my sole mission to be the voice, to be the advocate. So I've been on like many podcasts and documentaries for my injury to share my story. And I've been on the Children's Health Defense website. I was interviewed by one of their journalists. So I believe that this is my mission. And I'm the only one in my freedom group here in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada, that is injured. And they call me the healer of the group. So now they're coming to me for advice and how to help other people within their family. And I'm really glad that I found this urine therapy, because this is free. It is always available, and it's just really amazing. Like, I never thought at age 34 I would ever be drinking my own urine, but it
Look at
saved
your
my life.
Yeah.
Look at
Pardon?
your excitement. I'm loving this part.
Yeah. All the
Yes.
support you need is sitting right by you. And you know, my daughter now is supporting me for the first time through everything too. And it's just to be able to share that with her. I know completely what you mean. So
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that her father thinks that, well, he's the one that thinks that I'm disgusting because I'm drinking my own urine, but he's totally asleep as well to everything that's been going on for the last 3 years, and he don't believe that this is a bioweapon because he's fine. So at least she knows, she understands. She's been there for the last 2 years. She's seen me at my worst. And now for the last 2 months, I'm finally back to my old self, and I can feel like I'm getting stronger and more healthier, and it's a blessing. So I'm really glad that something told me to watch that docuseries and then to put all my trust in you, Gloria, that this was my answer. And then yeah, here I am 2 months later, and I'm just so happy that I found this.
Oh, Josephine, thank you. I'm so
Thank you.
blessed that everybody's healing. And thank you so much for sharing your testimony, and keep on going, because that's how we all are helping each other. And I see so many, I started with the docuseries, and look at all of us here now and how many of us have healed. So even though there are people out there that have called me crazy, people telling me I'm never injured and just crazy things, I just kept going and kept listening to my instincts. And I know what it was like to feel hopeless and to feel like there's no way, and people saying once you get it inside you, there's no taking it out. And when I healed, it's just absolutely not true. And how can I not share that with the people that I care about? So
oh yeah, like I even had somebody report me to a social worker, and they came into my house, I think it was a month and a half ago, and they came into my house and they questioned my mental health, and I gave them Dr. Group's research on urotherapy, and I was like, go and check this. And yeah, somebody reported saying that I was giving it to my children. I was like, oh no, like my children are young right now. I'm not going to make that decision for them, but I want them to see it's healing their mom. So that way I can, give them some hope for the future that they can heal themselves, because that's all I want. I don't trust in allopathic medicine ever again. But for my social worker to come into my house and question my mental health, I told her, I was like, here's the evidence. Go look at it yourself. And she never came back to me since then about the whole urine that I've been drinking.
Amen. And she probably is looking into the research for herself now.
Yeah, but these kind of scares and people putting me down is not going to make me stop ever. Like Gloria said, she's going to be doing it for life, and I'm going to be doing it for life as well, because I know that they are going to try and poison us every which way possible. And I have to navigate my children and teach them everything that they need to know for what's about to come in the future. And I'm the only one, right?
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to watch you, Josephine, get more youthful and more radiant. Oh, by the way, you didn't return to your old self. You're moving into the new version of you. The new gorgeous.
Yeah, that's what I felt like this bioweapon did. This bioweapon killed the old Josephine, and then the healing has begun to create a new Josephine after 34 years of abusing myself and being poisoned by outside forces.
Beautiful.
I have a question for Gloria about her protocol when she started her treatment. But before that, I just want to commend Josephine on your progress and your work and your self-discovery. I also wanted to add that people who start using this therapy automatically from day one, they raise their consciousness. There's a very spiritual journey that happens along with this that's imperative for one's development. It really works side by side. But I wanted to hear Gloria. I have not met you before, and I have not heard your story very much, except I know what you went through. How did you start to heal? What did you do?
When I started urotherapy, I would try to get my morning urine because it has the most stem cells. So I would put a cup by my bed. And when I woke up in the morning, I would go pee in that cup, and it would normally be around 5 ounces. In the beginning, just because it was a little bit of the mind telling me that, you know, it's gross, it's getting over that mind conditioning. So I did mix it in the beginning. But you're right, there is a spiritual connection that grows, and I don't mix it anymore because I feel that that spiritual connection is stronger when I don't mix it. So, but in the beginning, if you have to mix it to drink it, then absolutely mix it, because that's what I did in the beginning, and I healed. And then you just start, like Brother Sage says, you listen to your instincts and you go with what you feel. And that's kind of, I'm still doing that and growing and learning with my urotherapy. But I would say when I healed and lost that first 3 weeks of 18 pounds, all I did really was drink my morning urine, 5 ounces. I think during that whole time, my first 2 months even, I aged it only a few times. I started aging it after. But I think you can just heal even off of your morning urine.
Let me clarify something. How many of you people are still just doing the midstream? There are people in the urine therapy movement who do the midstream, and I'm going to explain why that's an archaic myth and tradition that was handed down from the Hindus 5,000 years ago. There was a sacred text known as the Damar Tantra. Has anybody heard of it? All right, the Damar Tantra was basically a instruction book in which Shiva lays out his whole way to heal everything to his partner Parvati. So you want to know how come he didn't age? How come he still look great? And where does he get the energy? And he said, drink of yourself and you will live. So he lays out this whole program. One of the verses says, drink the midstream, don't collect the beginning and the end. So people followed that. But if you read the next verse after that, it says, this is based on their understanding that symbolically urine represents the snake and the head and the tail can harm you. So that was based on tradition and superstition. 5,000 years later, we know that every drop is precious. Every drop is your medicine. So don't stop it. You know, don't save it all, use it all, whatever you can.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I do start talking about morning urine, but all your urine is good urine. Absolutely true. And I think at the beginning I did the midstream thing because that's what I heard, but I don't do that anymore either. And I take it all the way to the end.
Nice.
What is your take from me? I need advice. I sometimes when I have a situation, I tend to drink a lot of it. And then I go, oh no, my blood pressure is like off the roof here. It's too much salt, or I don't know what. But I have a problem with high blood pressure with too much urine. What's your take on that?
It sounds like if I have too much salt intake, then my urine is going to have too much salt. So it sounds like you may need to cut back salty foods. It is 100% linked to your food and drink intake. What you're going to input in your mouth is going to come out in the urine. So like, that's how I can gauge. And now that's a big reason also why I don't mix my urine anymore, because it helps me gauge. You know, they're telling us that something is healthy in the food, and then all of a sudden my urine is dark and I'm like, okay, that wasn't healthy at all. And then I know not to eat that anymore. So I like to be able to gauge my food intake through my urine. And
I would like to point out that the reason I'm always preaching about move toward live foods, raw foods, vegetarianism, etc., because raw foods do not have a label. Anything that has a label that was made by a human right? You're going to find out what salt is in all these labels. And a lot of labels, they don't have to, by their law, put all the ingredients in the labels.
Yeah.
You with me? So if you could just stay away from anything that has a label or has an expiration date, you'll have the most vitally alive, enzyme active, and water content food and chlorophyll available.
Yeah. Yeah. Eating out of
Gloria,
the garden is the best way.
how long have you been doing urotherapy, Gloria?
I've been doing it since February this year. And then
Mm-hmm.
I started in February and all of my vaccine side effects were gone by April. I haven't felt anything since April.
So about 4 months, you got rid of all the side effects.
2 February, yeah, March, April, 2 months, all my vaccine side effects were gone.
Okay.
But I mean, it's different for everybody too. It all depends on our food intake, where our poison level is in the body. So I've been contacted by people that took 6 months. I just talked to Dr. Group at the last event I was at, and he told me that most people take 3 years sometimes. So for us to see all these, our side effects completely gone, you know, within a couple months, he says is miraculous. So there's many of us that are healing quick. Josephine, you had very fast response. So it's just
And
miraculous.
you and Josephine are young too, which gives you an advantage. You have a stronger body than those of us who are going down the other side.
Well, there are also people in their 20s that are overweight and abuse themselves. So I don't know.
And I can't do a pull-up. I can't do a pull-up. So I think you guys are doing pretty good over there.
He is. He
He's the
is.
man.
I have a great story to tell. So this was in the midst of my rheumatoid arthritis, the big crisis. It's a disaster, right? And so I go to a chiropractor to see what he has to offer me. And he's a surgeon from China that couldn't get his medical license in America because his English was very poor. So he became a chiropractor instead. So this guy, he has in his office a machine that calculates your chi. It's a big machine. I don't know. He hooks you up and he sees how much energy you have. And he takes me, and I've been doing now the urine therapy, and he goes, "Oh my God, it cannot be. It's impossible. You're off the chart. You're off the chart." He says, "What's going on here? You have too much energy. There's something abnormal." So I was forced to tell him. In fact, and then I made photocopies of every manual and everything that I had to get, and I gave it to him because I wanted him to know. He was very grateful. He says, "I understand. It's absolutely wonderful." And that was the end of that. And then I never went back to him. But you see, the machine, it said there, and everybody said, "You're going to die here. You look like you're going to die. According to everything else, you should be dying." So there you go. You should be dying.
Now, there are people who have a strong life force, and it overtakes anything the world can throw at you. And this is why I highly recommend you guys get back into meditation, slowing down your mind, doing inner retreats from the world, from your projects, from your doing this. I told you I preach on Sunday. You've got to do the inward work in order for everything to work better on your life in all different aspects.
It is true. And I have been working on like every little thing. So, you know, it has helped me be able to heal, being able to meditate and building that stronger connection with God, and taking the time away and ground myself in the grass.
Nice.
Take away myself from the electronics. It's true. It all helps us. I had one more question for Brother Sage, and then if anybody else has a quick question before we wrap up this call. I wanted to know, Brother Sage, is there a difference from activating your stem cells from fasting or in taking in your stem cells through drinking your urine?
Well, the stem cells are known, and we've got a lot of science behind it, that is developed when it goes through the filtration process. So the dry activating the stem cells, are you talking about through the urine? Or
Like,
I know people, you hit 3 days of fasting and you activate your stem cells. Is that the same as ingesting your stem cells, or is it a different process?
I think it's the same thing.
Is it?
Yeah, the stem cells, you guys understand what stem cells are? They're non-differentiated cells, which means they take on whatever organ or system is needed at the time. Pretty magical, huh?
Yeah.
Your body has a blueprint, by the way. Your body comes with a blueprint of what perfect cells, perfect cellular structure, the perfect body is like. So it's constantly working 24/7 to identify any threats, any contamination, so it can reset the homeostasis and get you up and going again. So whatever you can do to listen to your body more, get in your body more, exercise, get a massage, whatever it is, and be more physical than you've ever been. Because you see, we get stuck way too easy. We get paralyzed, and you can't do much in that position. So
Amazing.
What's the 3-day thing? I don't understand the 3-day. You were saying after 3 days, stem cell something.
When you fast, if you fast for 3 days and longer, you start activating the stem cells in your body through fasting.
Okay.
Which is, but for me, I can fast about 36 hours, but for me to get to that 72 hours is kind of hard. And that's why I just drink my urine, because
Okay.
that for me is a little easier.
There's somebody on the urine website here, not website, but Facebook, who advocates 1 meal a day.
yeah.
I can do that, but I can't anymore. I'm too old. I'm almost 70 now. I need to eat something.
Yeah, that's why drinking your urine or doing urotherapy works for you, and you'll do the same thing. You'll get your stem cells.
You're drinking a whole health food store full of nutrition and nutrient-dense, mineral-rich, bioavailable, structured water. You know, it should bring you guys a level of comfort to know as if they mess with our food supply, they do damage to the suppliers and getting out to market, and for some reason you can't grow it yourself. If you can pee in your hand, you can thrive on the planet. That's why some people call Shivambhu your personal savior.
It is.
The rest is what goes through your head because of our association what food represents to us.
So, but you're okay with 1 small meal a day while you're fasting?
It's not a true fast, but you've got to, I mean, the rule of thumb is even whether you do that 1 meal a day or when you have a meal, is really watch your portions, guys. Don't fill up a plate because emotionally you feel empty, but chew thoroughly, take your time with all the food, and actually have some pleasure with it.
Right. That's good.
Can I just add, I was training a lot. You might find this with the fasting. It's to do with your activity levels. Like I was training a lot of athletes and also training a lot of clients who were entrepreneurs, and they would always try and do a 1 meal a day so they could work more during the day. But it's really monitor your activity level. Because a lot of people have these hard rules like, oh, I will just do 1 meal a day, or I'll do 2, like a 16 and 8 or something. And then they actually get really fatigued and become more stressed. Yeah. So it's just being able to gauge on the day how well you're doing, and then your body will just adapt to what you're aiming for anyway. Don't have hard and fast rules about things all the time. I found that worked, and I felt maybe that might help you.
Very good advice, brother. Well said.
Well said. Thank you.
Does anybody else have a quick question or comment?
Gloria.
This is Jim.
Hi.
Hi, Jim.
The young guy asked about how long you use nicotine. I was listening to Dr. Otis the other day, and he said that the venom can take up to 10 years to get out of your body, especially if you took the Pfizer shot and your body's creating venom. So he says that you need to use the nicotine for a very long time. I plan to use it forever now, but he emphasizes that you have to use the NAC, vitamin C, or urine with the nicotine. Otherwise, all the nicotine does, it just takes venom off the nicotinic receptors and it circulates in the body, still there. So you got to kill that now, and you do that by the use of NAC and the urine therapy. Now, as far as the stem cells are concerned, Jonathan Arthur said that ordinary urine, like morning urine, may have 200 stem cells. But if you let it age for a day or two, it can multiply into thousands of stem cells because they're living things, the stem cells are. And so if you want to maximize the stem cells, use aged urine.
Yeah. Yep. And 3 weeks it could get into the millions of stem cells.
Correct.
And then that's why too, the nicotine, 10 years maybe to heal your body with nicotine, but I can guarantee you with the urotherapy in 2 months, the poison is gone out of my body and it's not producing venom anymore. My cells are not that venom factory anymore. So you can heal faster with the correct treatment, I would say. But I do also wear a nicotine patch because I believe that any poison coming into my body, because we're going to continue to be poisoned. So any poison coming into my body will not stick to my cell. And then I also continue the urotherapy because it's just going to keep me healthy no matter what they try to poison us with.
Right. And I think it was Dr. Artis that said I belong to the Artist Club Experience. And so he had a Q&A, and he said that he wears the nicotine patch every day because your ACE2 nicotinic receptors prefer the nicotine. So he said, all my nicotine receptors are filled with nicotine. So when I get exposed to venom or I get exposed to the shedding, he said, my body is constantly rejecting it off of my receptors. So, and then I'm constantly denaturing it with, the vitamin C, NAC, zinc, selenium, those things. So yeah, I wear one 24/7.
I stopped taking my other supplements, y'all. Okay, I haven't taken vitamins and NAC or none of it for months because I don't need it anymore. The urotherapy is enough.
That's the same as me. I was last year, I'm on social assistance welfare, and I spent thousands of my money last year before I heard about urotherapy. And I literally made myself broke. There was times where I didn't know if I could afford food or my bills or my health. And, my health is above everything, because if I don't have my health, then I don't have everything else. So I spent thousands, and I was on 30 supplements last year to push it all out of my body. And now I don't take nothing. I only use urine therapy, and I do take methylene blue, because it really helps with my oxygen levels, because for 2 years I was gasping for air, like there was a weight on my chest. So I noticed that methylene blue was helping me, but mostly I'm only using urine therapy, and I stopped all my other supplements, and it's been helping me out more than all the supplements put together.
So no vitamin D either?
So I have augmented NAC, but I've taken one pill of it and I don't use it anymore. I have some that I'm sharing with other people, but yeah, I don't take NAC because I already went through 2 rounds with that, and I knew that it wasn't removing the poison all the way. So I knew that wasn't, it can help dissolve the clots in the body, but it's not going to stop that venom protein factory that's going on. So, but the 2 things that I did start taking again, because I started doing iodine, and I take deer antler velvet. But those are the only 2 things really. Sometimes I'll do the spirulina, the algae, but it's, I have not taken any supplement daily, including the iodine. The only supplement I'm doing daily is urotherapy. And I do the nicotine, a 2 small patch nicotine patch, but yeah, that's it.
Are you going to go to the Healing of the Ages conference?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Oh, awesome. Good.
Yeah.
We'll
Me and Naomi will be doing our live event from the Healing of the Ages.
Great. And I want to tell Josephine what a wonderful thing it is to put a face to her. I've been friends with her on Facebook and on the little chat on iMessages, and she's beautiful, and I just love to see her face.
Thank you. Yes, it was. I knew your name sounded familiar, so I'm really glad to see familiar faces in here, to see that we're all coming together and healing one another. That's what we're supposed to be doing, right? We're all God's children. We come here not to cause division and destruction and pain. We come to help and heal and serve each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Guys, before Gloria brings us to a close here, when we get this up and published on our different social media platforms, we'll be posting the link. And we really appreciate you sending these this video and this show far and wide through all your networks, and the people that may want to be considering urine therapy as their new way to restore their health. So all that kind of support, it goes a long way in helping this message go even farther.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and I had a friend, Sarah, who tried to join on Zoom and she couldn't. It wouldn't connect with her, and she's been sending me text messages. So she said she'll go on brothersages.com and get a private meeting with him. But she showed me on Zoom, it just told her no, not able to join the meeting.
Yes, well, that probably happened when we were getting all the off-topic people. And at some point I realized this is the group, this is the people who need to be on this call right now. So I stopped admitting people at some point.
Okay. Okay.
But we'll get that video out so she'll be able to see it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome, Nancy. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Does anybody else have a quick question or comment?
Well, before we go, can we do a group hug?
Yes, absolutely, everybody. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I really appreciate everybody being here and all your love and support and all the healing to everybody out there. I really wish us all the best, and we will continue to do this and be together and be strong. I can see God bringing his people together and bringing us stronger. Like I see it happening every day.
Do you want me to end with a prayer?
I would love that, Nancy.
Please.
Okay. Dear God in heaven, we come from all facets of life and all over the world, and people who are here, and we ask for your righteous right arm to reach down and bring healing to these people that are injured from this vaccine, and to have this video shared wide and to enlighten people so that they realize what is injuring them. Once they realize what is injuring them, they can start to heal. And thank you for Gloria. Please bless her and Brother Sage and each one of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Aho Ashe. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your knowledge, wisdom, experience to help us learn and grow.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Go have yourself the most ridiculously fun and blissful day ever, and spread the good news far and wide. Much love to you, Brother Sage.
Much love.
Thank you.